Hello. In this video, we will discuss one of the Form 5 poems, which is What Has Happened to Lulu. In this video, we will first look at meaning of important words, followed by poem recitation, and then we will analyze the poem stanza by stanza, and we will have extra analysis for this poem. This is an important part of this video. And then I will summarize the video before I discuss with you the lessons that you can learn from the poem. These are the important words that you need to know in this poem. Ragdoll, flapping, dusty, money box, crumple, roar, gust, and wonder about. Ragdoll is a soft doll made from pieces of cloth, right? Doll is also means puppet. Okay, it is anak patung yang diperbuat daripada kain. Flapping is a verb, right? An action verb, which means fluttering or flailing is the action of, something moving, fluttering about. In BM, it's like mengepak or berkibar. You imagine how birds, when they fly, they flap their wings, right? Kepak sayap. Kepak sayap sounds wrong, but yeah, they flap their wings. And look at that window. Look at the curtain, right? It is fluttering, right? Looks like how butterflies move. Dusty means berhabuk or kotor, right? Another word for it is dirty or filthy. Money box is a container to keep coins or money. Another term for it is piggy bank, or in BM we call it tabung untuk simpan duit. Crumple is an action verb. It means to crush something to make it creased or to crease. In BM, it is ronyok or renyuk. Kedahan would say konyok. Roar is a loud, deep sound, usually made by animals. Another word for it is howl and growl. Right? It's mengaum or ngauman, or bunyi seperti mengaum. In this poem, there is no animals, right? So we will see later. Gust is a sudden strong wind or squall. In BM, we call it angin kencang. And here comes the last word. Actually, it's a phrase. Okay, wander about. Wander about is to walk aimlessly or to roam. Or the better version in BM is munda mande, jalan tanpa hala tuju. So, are you ready for the poem recitation? Well, you can follow quietly after me. What has happened to Lulu? What has happened to Lulu, mother? What has happened to Lulu? There's nothing on her bed but an old rag doll, and by its side, a shoe. Why is her window wide, mother? The curtain flapping free, and only a circle on the dusty shelf where her money box used to be. Why do you turn your head, mother? And why do teardrops fall? And why do you crumple that note on the fire and say it is nothing at all? I woke to voices late last night. I heard an engine roar. Why do you tell me the things I heard were a dream and nothing more? I heard somebody cry, Mother, in anger or in pain. But now I ask you why, Mother. You say it was a gust of rain. Why do you wander about as though you don't know what to do? What has happened to Lulu, Mother? What has happened to Lulu? Let us start with analysis of stanza 1. What has happened to Lulu, Mother? What has happened to Lulu? If you look at these two lines, they are questions and they are actually repetitive. Who would ask repetitive questions? It must be someone of very young age, right? Maybe it's around 5, 6, 7, maybe not more than 10, right? So who would ask such question to mother? That person must be Lulu's younger sibling. How do we know that this younger sibling is between 5 and 10 years old? It must be a younger sibling because look here, this younger sibling called Lulu only as Lu. Normally, if we are close with our older sibling, we would have or we would call them with nicknames that we are comfortable with. And usually the nicknames are very short. Okay, so what has happened to Lulu, mother? This question was asked by a younger sibling. However, we do not know whether this younger sibling is a boy or a girl because it was never mentioned in the poem. There's nothing on her bed. So why is it that nothing on her bed is a problem? Okay, listen. As a teenager, is your bed clear with nothing on it? Well, be honest. I'm sure you put a lot of things on your bed. From your phone, your gadgets and devices, your laptop even. And sometimes you might even pile your clothes, right? Your shirts, your jeans, you would leave it on your bed. Books, right? So that is why it is weird that Lulu's bed is empty. It has nothing on the bed. However, there is one thing that Lulu actually left. It is an old rag doll. Why is it old? Let's see. Ragdoll is a symbol of innocence. Normally, girls would have dolls, not just one. They may have more than one. Some girls I know have 4 or 5 dolls or plush toys on their bed. So why would they have these ragdolls? It is a companion for young girls throughout their childhood. Okay, peneman, right? Because girls usually when they are young, they are scared of many things and they need friends. So rag dolls are usually a companion, teman, for the girls. And usually the girls receive rag dolls at a very young age. And they will keep the dolls with them until they reach certain age, usually until they reach maturity. When they are matured enough, they turn into a woman. Normally, they would leave the doll behind. So, Lulu leaving the old ragdoll has a very significant reason here. It's very significant, it's very important. Why? Because Lulu leaving her old ragdoll means she was ready to leave her childhood behind to become an adult. Right? She was ready to become an adult and leaving the innocence, the memories behind. Other than the old ragdoll, there is something else that Lulu left behind, which is a shoe. This is actually weird. Why is it weird? Because normally, would you leave a shoe behind? No, right? Normally, you will either wear both shoes or you will leave both of them. You don't wear one shoe going around. It's weird. So why would Lulu left a shoe? Oh, before that, I forgot to mention, it's there, the pronoun it's there refers to the bed, Lulu's bed. So, atas katil ada ragdoll, di sebelah katil ada is it sebuah, sebiji? Ada satu kasut di situ. Right? So, why would Lulu left a shoe? Let's look at the video. Let's look at a video and we will see why.
Excuse me.
Okay, I'm sure many of you are familiar with that story. You may have not watched the movie, but I'm sure you must have at least heard about the tale of Cinderella. So why did she leave a shoe? Right? She left a shoe in that video earlier. Why? Because she was in a hurry. So Lulu left a shoe behind because she was in a hurry to leave the house. In stanza 1, we can summarize that the persona is Lulu's younger sibling and the persona is very close to Lulu. Lulu possibly ran away from home because she took everything with her except her ragdoll. Another evidence is she left a shoe to show that Lulu was in a hurry to leave the house. Why is her window wide, mother? The curtain flapping free. So this is what a window wide with flapping free curtain. So window wide here shows that the window was wide open, terbuka, terbentang luas. And because of that, the curtain were flapping free. Okay, the phrase flapping free symbolizes freedom. It tells us that Lulu is now free from the house. And only a circle on the dusty shelf where her money box used to be. Right, we see here there is a money box and it is located on a dusty shelf. Look at how dusty the shelf is. Why is this important? Let's see. When we take away the money box, what happened? A circle mark is left on the dusty shelf where the money box used to be. Okay, some people would say that Lulu is unhygienic because her shelf is dusty. However, I think that is not really the important point here, because some people don't really clean certain parts of the room. Or rather, I personally would not move my money box. If I have a money box, it stays there. I don't move it around because there is no need to, right? I only put my money into the money box and I don't need to move the money box. So what happens if the money box stays at one place for a long time? Normally when we remove it, you will see a mark, right, on the surface. Right? Maybe the shelf is not as dusty as the one in the picture, but normally money box we don't move around, and once we move it, we will see a mark. So I think that is the real point of these two lines. In stanza 2, we can summarize that Lulu left her window wide open and her curtain flapping free. It is possible to think that Lulu might have escaped through her window. Well, it's not impossible. However, what I think the poet is trying to highlight here is the fact that normally, if we leave our room for a long time, do we leave the window wide open? Normally, we wouldn't. Normally, we will keep our windows shut, right? We will keep it closed. Why? Because we do not want bugs, mosquitoes, or whatever it is to enter our room and make a mess inside. Right? Because we know earlier in stanza 1, Lulu left the room. She wasn't anywhere to be found in the room because she took everything with her. However, all the things are not in the room, but the window is wide open. So this tells us that Lulu ran away from home. Right? As I said, Lulu has left the room for good. She brought her savings in the money box with her. This is another evidence that she ran away from home. Because when you run away from home, you would need money to survive on your own. We are now at stanza 3. Why do you turn your head, mother, and why do teardrops fall? Okay, to understand these two lines, I will show you a series of pictures. Let's look at the first one. Okay, we can see that a woman, let's say that this woman is mother and she looks sad. She's probably crying. And then suddenly a kid asks, Mommy, are you crying? So in this situation, what do you think? How do you think this woman, this mother would react? She would turn her head. She would turn around and cover her face. She will try to, she will try not to show that she was crying. Oh, it's nothing dear. I just got dust in my eyes. Tak ada apalah. Tak ada apalah. Habuk masuk mata saja. bukan teriak pun, bukan menangis. Something like that, right? So why do you turn your head, mother? And why do teardrops fall? So mother turned away from the child, from the persona, because she didn't want the persona to know that she was crying. So why did mother cry in stanza 3? Because she found a note, right? She found a note. So who left the note? Well, who else? It was probably from Lulu. And this note is probably an apology note, right? A note where it says, sorry mother, I am leaving the house. Okay, so it is an apology note for running away from home. And why do you crumple that note on the fire? So mother found a note, right? An apology note, right? A note saying thank you, or probably saying sorry, or probably explaining why Lulu ran away from home. If you were in that situation, how would you react? Right? You must be angry, you must be sad. So if if I were mother, I would crumple that note. So this is what happened. So mother found the note, she crumpled it, and she threw it into the fireplace. Okay, so why mother crumpled the note and then threw it into the fireplace? Because mother was emotional. Well, every mother would feel emotional. Mothers would feel angry and sad when they found that their child just ran away from home. It is normal. Look at the last line. So when the persona asked lots of things and mother only answered, it is nothing at all. Right? Why? Because mother didn't want the persona to know about Lulu running away from home. In stanza 3, we can summarize that mother was sad with Lulu's disappearance. She was probably angry too after reading Lulu's note. That is why she crumpled it and then threw it into the fire. However, mother again tried to hide the fact that Lulu ran away from home from the persona. Mother didn't want the persona to know. I woke to voices late last night. Okay, here you must notice that the word is plural. Voices. You see there is the letter S there, right? Voices. So it means there must be more than one person, right? So what does it mean? It means that they must be talking to one another, having a conversation, right? And who are the voices? They could possibly be Lulu and mother. Who else? Of course, it cannot be the persona because persona is the one who was awoken by the voices. So, what kind of conversation would wake you up in the middle of the night? And we must remember the persona is a young child. Okay, a young child usually when they sleep at night, it is a very sound sleep, tidur nyenyak. So what kind of conversation would wake the persona up? Let's look at a video.
Myself to a man who rises and sleeps under the blanket of the very freedom that I provide, and then questions the manner in which I provide it. I would rather you just said thank you and went on your way. Otherwise, I suggest you pick up a weapon and stand a post.
Your way, I don't give a damn.
Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to. Did you order the code red? I did the job. Did you order the...
So, you have watched the video. What actually happened there? Right, they were having a conversation. But what kind of conversation happened there? Right? First, the first person raised his voice. And then the second person also raised his voice. What happened was they were arguing. They must be quarreling about something. So the voices that woke the persona up must be Lulu and Mother. They were quarreling, right? They were quarreling about something. Other than the voices, the persona also heard an engine roar. So an engine roar tells us that there must be a car outside the house. Right. So that kind of sound definitely would wake you up in the middle of the night. So this engine roar, there is a car outside, suggests that someone is waiting for Lulu outside the house. Because normally when someone is waiting for you, outside the house, sometimes when they get a bit impatient, they would press the pedal, right? They would press the gas pedal and make a roaring sound. Imagine how your father, your father waiting for you. Let's say you go to school with your father, right? And your father is already waiting for you in the car and you are running late, right? Unlike your mother would just shout at you, "Hey, come quick, you're late." That's what mothers would do. But father, no. What father would normally do? They would just press the pedal, make the engine sound so loud that you are alert that father is going to leave you soon, right? So it tells us that someone is waiting in the car. And who could that possibly be? It could be Lulu's father, or it may be Lulu's boyfriend, or just a best friend waiting for her to help her escape. But when the persona asks mother, or rather the persona tells mother, "Mother, last night I heard voices. I also heard the sound of engine." But uh, how did mother respond to the persona? Mother said that it was just a dream and nothing more. Why is it so? Because mother wants to hide the fact that Lulu ran away from home. So that dream is just an excuse mother made up for the persona to believe it. Right? It's like, like a young kid, like your younger sibling comes tell your mother that they heard something, and your mother would say, "Alah, mimpi je tu," right? Don't worry about it, right? So it's something like that. So here is what we can summarize from stanza 4. The persona was awoken by loud voices and roaring engine late at night. The voices tell us that Lulu and mother were arguing. Right? When you argue, you are angry at each other, you will yell. Right? And the engine roaring tells us that someone is waiting for Lulu in a car outside the house. However, when the persona told mother about it. Again, mother tried to hide it from the persona by giving excuse. In stanza 5, the line sounds like this. I heard somebody cry, mother, in anger or in pain. Who is this somebody? Obviously, this somebody must be mother. So, how does a cry in anger or in pain sound like? Let's listen. It sounds so sad, isn't it? Right. But now I ask you why, mother? You say it was a gust of rain. But how does a gust of rain sound like? Let's listen. So you have heard the sound of someone crying and also the sound of gusts of rain. Are they similar? Do they sound, the same? Not really. However, it's quite close, isn't it? Right. That is why mother compared the crying sound to gusts of rain. And why did mother do it? Because, again, this is another excuse. Mother is giving the child, giving Lulu's younger sibling an excuse so that the persona do not have to know about what happened. What we can summarize from stanza 5 is the persona heard the sound of somebody crying, right? The cry might be in anger or in pain, right? Anger, in pain. So when you are in pain, meaning you are sad. So mother told the persona it was the sound of gusts of rain as an excuse to cover up. Again, from stanza 3 and then stanza 4 and then now stanza 5. The persona asks questions after questions, but mother only gave excuses because mother tries to hide the fact that Lulu ran away from home. Mother tried to hide the problem from the persona. Look at that picture. How would you describe the woman? She looks like she is panicking, like she is confused about something, as though she doesn't know what to do, isn't it? Right? So, the first two lines in stanza 6, okay, why do you wander about as though you don't know what to do? Right? This phrase or line tells us that mother was confused about what to do, right? And she also panicked when she found out that Lulu was gone. right? So she wondered about Munda Mande. I think Munda Mande is just is a mild word, tak cukup kuat, right? Let me give you one situation. Think about a man waiting outside labor room. Okay, labor room is bilik bersalin. How would you imagine the guy, would act? Can he sit down, calmly waiting for the wife inside? I don't think so. The man would be wandering about as though he doesn't know what to do. So that is what happened to mother when she found out that Lulu ran away from home, that Lulu was missing. Right? In BM we call it seperti kucing nak beranak. Alright, something like that. Tak boleh duduk diam because confused and also panic. And the last two lines in stanza 6. What has happened to Lulu mother? What has happened to Lu? These two lines are repetition from stanza 1. Why the poet repeated the same lines? Because it highlights the persona's curious and inquisitive nature. Inquisitive is curious, meaning love to ask questions to learn. So, when the persona is described, not really described actually, but throughout the poem, we can see this whole poem actually is a list of questions that the persona asks. It can only tell us one thing, right? So how old is a person who asks a lot of questions? Are you 17-year-old teenager ask a lot of questions? I don't think so, because normally in class teachers ask question and you normally just keep quiet, isn't it? Right. So normally young children, as I said earlier, between 5 and 10 years old, this is the time when children ask a lot of questions. So this poem shows that the persona asked a lot of questions, and it only highlights that the fact that the persona is a very young child. So this persona must be Lulu's younger sibling. Stanza 6, we can summarize that mother was panicking and she was also confused after Lulu left. However, she didn't know what to do. Normally, when we are panicking, we do not know what to do, right? Because the reason is because she was overcome with emotions, and at the same time she had to keep it a secret from the persona. Remember how inquisitive, how curious, how many questions the persona kept asking mother, right? Mother is already emotional, feeling a mix of angry, sad, confused, and then she also has to answer to the young child, to the young persona. So that's why she didn't know what to do. Here we are at the important part of this video, the extra analysis. The first question: what actually has happened to Lulu? That is a very important question. Well, many people can suggest many different things happened to Lulu. For example, Lulu might have been kidnapped. Well, they can guess whatever, but is it correct? Is it true? Does the evidence in the poem agree with the suggestion that Lulu was kidnapped? Right? From the evidences that I have shared with you earlier, we can say that Lulu ran away from home. Remember the evidence, right? She left nothing except a shoe. If Lulu was kidnapped, do you think the kidnapper would have the time to take everything? Lulu's belonging? I don't think so. Yes, the shoe, right? Only one shoe. It might suggest that there was a struggle. But then again, how can you explain about nothing left in the room? So there is only one conclusion that we can make, which is Lulu ran away from home. Right? Another evidence is she took her money box. And we also know that she had an accomplice. Okay, accomplice is seseorang yang bersubahat, partner in crime. How do we know? Because of the engine roaring outside. Right? The engine roars outside can only suggest to us that there is a third person waiting outside the house. But who is that third person? We don't know, because it was never mentioned. It was only suggested that there is a third person. But we can guess that the third person might be Lulu's father, can be Lulu's boyfriend. It can also be Lulu's best friend. Now that we know what actually happened to Lulu, we need to know why she did what she has done, why she ran away from home. So what could possibly be the reasons why Lulu ran away from home? Here are my suggestions. The first one is Lulu had a misunderstanding or a quarrel with mother. It happens. I am sure many of you would have had the experience of, getting into a misunderstanding with your mother or with your father, with your parents, to a point that you actually think about running away from home. If you have never experienced it, then that's good. You have a very happy family, right? And I hope that you won't have to experience that. If you have experienced it, doesn't mean that your family is not happy. It only tells that your family has a healthy relationship. Of course, there is no family, there is no relationship that is always happy, right? The second suggestion that I can give is mother was abusive or overprotective. Okay, abusive here means that mother suka dera anak dia. Alright? Maybe let's say Lulu made a mistake and then mother scolded her, maybe slapped her. Right? Abusive doesn't have to be physical. It can also be verbal abuse. Right? For example, Lulu made a mistake and mother said, you are stupid. I don't have a daughter like you. That is verbal abusive. Okay, physical abuse is, well, as you might have guessed, beat you up, slap you, right? Or that is the negative part. Or mother is overprotective. This is actually positive, but it becomes negative. Overprotective, for example, is, let's say Lulu wants to go out with her friends. Mother said, no, you cannot go out. Lulu wants to do this, mother said no. Lulu wants to do that, mother said no. So she wants freedom. And the third suggestion that I can give you is Lulu wanted to stay with father. This is a possible, a possible situation, because throughout the poem from stanza 1 until stanza 6, we did not hear anything about father, meaning to say that mother is a single parent. Okay, a single parent, ibu tunggal. So what happened to the father? maybe father and mother were divorced, right? And mother get the rights to raise Lulu. So Lulu had to stay with mother. However, Lulu is already at the age where she is turning into adults already. Sudah cukup umur. So Lulu can make her own decision now. And she's probably not very happy with mother. Probably reason number one or reason number two. So now she decided to stay with the father. There is another question that we need to answer, which is, what could possibly be the reasons why mother kept it a secret from the persona? Earlier, we saw that in stanza 3, stanza 4, and stanza 5. Of course, the persona asks questions starting from stanza 1. But in stanza 3, in stanza 4, and in stanza 5, we saw that mother gave a lot of excuses. She wanted to keep it a secret from the persona. So why? Why is it so? Right? It is probably because the persona was too young to understand the problem. Remember earlier, I suggested that the persona is probably between 5 and 10 years old. And do you think a child that young can understand the situation? I don't think so. So, let's say the child asks, Mother, why there is nothing on Lulu's bed? If mother tells, oh, Lulu ran away from home, then the child would ask some more, why Lulu ran away from home? And I don't think any parents could keep up with that. Right? As I said earlier, the persona could be between 5 to 10 years old. So, it can be somewhat annoying, to answer to all those questions, especially when you are in such, emotional state like mother. Throughout the poem, we were told that mother was confused, she was sad, and she was angry. And in that situation, if you are in mother's shoes, if you are in the state where you are confused, you are sad and also angry, do you think you have the patience to answer so many questions? I don't think I have the patience. And the last one is, parents normally keep their problems a secret from their children. This is true to so many parents. Right? Normally, you don't even know that your parents have problem. Let's say financial problem. They do not have money, or they don't have, they have some kind of problems. They will never tell you. It most probably be because of, ego as a parents, as an adult, they are too proud to tell children that they have problem. Another reason is out of love, because parents, any parents, I think most parents, if not all, most parents would only want the best for their child. So if let's say they don't have enough money to buy food, they will buy food and give the food to the child, even though they have to starve. They don't eat, it's okay as long as the child eats. So when they have problem, they keep it to themselves. They do not want the child to know about the problem. To summarize, this poem is about problems surrounding teenagers. As a teenager, they face many different problems every day. And one of them is problems with parents at home. You might feel that they are overprotective, or they are too restrictive, and sometimes parents can be abusive as well. And sometimes you have problems with your siblings. You growing up and you feel unhappy about many things. Or sometimes teenagers begin to fall in love. And that can change many things about how they think. Next, this poem does not straight away tell us what happened to Lulu, or else the title wouldn't be what has happened to Lulu, a question. Instead, it leaves hints after hints for us to make our own guess. Hints means clue. Okay, hint means clue. And this poem also highlights the effect of running away from home to other family members. As we could see in this poem, mother was emotional, so many different kinds of emotions. She was sad, she was angry, she was also confused. And the persona, she or he, became curious. What actually happened to Lulu? So when you run away from home, it will affect your family members who remain at home. So please do not run away from home. There are a few lessons that we can learn from this poem. The first one is running away from home is never a solution for any problem between family members. If you have problem with your parents, if you have problem with your siblings, solve it. Talk to them. Find a way to solve it. Don't run away from home. The next one is, in a family, we should be concerned about each other's feelings. Sometimes we are so busy with our life, we don't really concerned about our family members, about how they feel. So starting from today, you should be more aware about how your family members are doing at home. Maybe they are sad, maybe they have problems, but they don't or cannot talk to you. Notice it and do something about it. And the last one is, we should face our problem and try to solve it rather than running away from it. Yes, this is true, folks. Because if you have a problem and you run away from it, one day your problem will come back to you bigger than it was. So rather than that happens to you, it is always best for you to face it and solve it right away. Well, that is all for this video. I'll see you again in our next video. All the best for your SPM. Bye.